welcome. Welcome to My Favorite Mortgage Podcast. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. My name is Jaimie Booth. I am a loan officer in Arizona, and we have a special guest with us today on My Favorite Mortgage Podcast. We have Nicolette Valencia, or do you want to use it?
Well, it should be Valencia, but I haven't changed my last name yet, so it's still Schamahorn.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I have you in my phone as Valencia, so
I get yelled at on the regular for that. I need to change it.
Okay.
Not from him, from everyone else, like in the real estate world, you know.
Yeah.
My signs, my social media. I'm like,
you know what though? The maiden name is hard to lose if you started with your business in a particular name and then we switch to a new name. It's hard.
yeah. Well, getting all your signs changed and your business cards and then your PLLC and
Oh yeah, bank accounts, credit cards.
social. Doesn't your social change?
Yeah. So you know what I did? When you get your marriage license, you can kind of pick a new name. Like at that point, you're like, it's a free for all.
Oh, yeah.
So
Call me Karen
right?
Smith.
Or Regina Phalange.
Regina George fits better.
So I ended up just moving my maiden name to my middle name. So that if I ever did like get a check or something, I had both names.
So it's Jaimie
Massey Booth.
Ah, what about your middle name? What'd you do with that?
I have two middle names.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the same thing as just like hyphenating it?
Kind of, but it was in the middle name column.
Oh.
It wasn't in the column as my last name. My
Yeah.
last name is just Booth.
Honestly, that's such a good last name though. Booth. It's just simple.
You know what people ask us all the time is if we're related to John Wilkes Booth. I'm like,
Yes, of course. No.
no, I don't know.
Probably.
Who knows?
Somewhere down the line.
Well, again, thank you so much for coming on to our podcast. I know we've been wanting to get you on for a while. And this is a podcast that kind of lets buyers behind the curtain of the home buying process, from loans to inspections to working with realtors. And we've got a special episode this week where we're going to talk about the different inspections. And one of the most important ones is your final walkthrough.
That's so funny because we're doing a video on that. I don't know, probably today actually.
Oh,
Like the talking head videos, you know?
yes.
That we taught, about the final walkthrough.
You're doing really good on those too.
Oh, thank you.
I love, you've got great talent at home to help you with that.
It's all that because it wouldn't be this if it wasn't that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic. So we wanted to just invite you to sit back, relax, enjoy some conversation on My Favorite Mortgage Podcast. And before we get started into our story, I have a couple games.
Okay.
You've heard of Would You Rather? Mm-hmm. Okay. Would you rather have an inspection report with black mold or termites?
Oh, termites all day.
Yeah, why is that?
Because termites you can easily treat. Black mold, it's like so much more in depth of how the treatment process goes as far as, cutting it out, exposing it, and then everything in the air. Then it becomes, it's just my sister and my brother-in-law had black mold in their house. My sister got really, really sick from it, really sick. And so they had to move out for a little bit and like demo their whole house to get rid of it. But it's way more expensive and it's way more, that's scary. The side effects of black mold is way more intense than termites.
Do you see that a lot out here?
Not really. I mean, unless you're really like cutting open walls and like in showers and bathrooms and stuff, that's really common. But if there's a lot of deferred maintenance in the home with water damage or things that you just didn't know about, then
you want to get a test.
Yeah. But in order to test that, you have to cut into things, and not a lot of people want to do that,
So you prefer termites over black mold?
Oh, yes.
Hands
most
down.
definitely.
All
Hands
day.
down.
Okay.
All day.
Would you rather, when you're taking a buyer out to tour some homes, tour a home with 10 cats or 10 snakes?
Oh, what? That's a good one. I'm allergic to cats, but I'm terrified of snakes, so I'll take the allergies all day over the snakes.
And the litter box smell, you'd rather go to
Yeah. Oh, man, that's gnarly. I did an open house this weekend. They had 2 cats, and we were just staring at each other the whole time, just dogging each other down.
Oh, my God.
My client's like, how are the cats doing? I'm like, well, I opened up the front door, and I told them the neighbor would like to go see them, or to go visit the neighbor next door, and she's like, shut up. I was like, no, but the cat did knock my water over, so...
They're spiteful.
Yeah, they're mean.
Yeah.
And they're scary looking. Like, they look at you like,
Yeah.
I'll hurt you.
Unlike a dog who wants to just be loved, they
And then
are
a
planning
snake
your
that'll
murder.
just bite you and kill you, so I don't know. Cat.
All right, last one. Would you rather have a world without internet or a world without cell phones?
Well, don't you need internet for your cell phone to work?
No.
Oh.
No. Well, I mean, now you've got the
Like Wi-Fi and stuff?
Yeah, remember the old let's just think back where cell phones before they became smartphones and they were just your
that's
cell
true.
phone. But
I would...
what would you give up? Internet?
Internet.
Internet?
Yeah.
Oh, and you need your cell phone, of course. Your
Yeah.
Realtor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Those are my would you rathers.
Let me think of a would you rather for you.
Oh, okay.
All right.
If not, while you're doing that.
Would you rather take a client that is a cash buyer but is the most annoying cash buyer, just constantly blowing up your phone, or a loan so a cash buyer that's annoying, constantly blowing up your phone but can close in 2 weeks? Oh, wait, no, that doesn't make sense because it's cash buyer.
It's okay. I'm going to convert them to a small mortgage for tax benefits.
Okay. Or deal with a client that needs down payment assistance, closing costs covered, and their purchase price is only $250,000 here in Arizona, but they are the best clients in the world.
Oh, hands down, the best clients in the world.
Oh, yeah?
I will get so creative, do whatever it takes, DPA, closing cost. We'll make that offer as pretty as we can.
Even though the cash buyer will close in 2 weeks?
Yeah,
Okay.
hands down. You know.
She has a heart. No.
Because I think with the cash buyer is that even though you're getting paid in 2 weeks, just the strain of constantly, like you're working all day, every day. Like you're getting paid $3 an hour when everything is said and done.
Yeah, that's true.
Where the other buyers, they're respectful and grateful. And most times, someone like that is going to be like, hey, whenever you can, call me. And I'm like, I'm good now. Let's call you now. And they're like, thank you so much for calling. I know you're working. And I'm like, no.
And the other one's like, call me by 5 p.m. and it's 4:59.
Yeah. Call me by 5 or you're fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then your mental health just goes to shit for the next week because
and it's Sunday.
You're drinking a bottle of wine every day just so you're done with them.
Yeah, you're trying.
Am I speaking for you or me? I don't know.
You're coping. Yeah, well, maybe a little bit. But you're coping with alcohol just to get it through. All right. So you touched on a little bit right there about, having a buyer or having a client that is consuming a lot of your time. And I know you've got 2 little ones at home. How do you balance motherhood and with the kids and the demand as a realtor, especially if you do start getting these demanding clients? How do you balance that?
I don't necessarily know if I balance it as much as try to cope with it or work with it as it's going, just like living in the moment type of thing. My kids are going to be hands down first priority every single time. And I got into this business because I wanted to be at home with them more. And we had 2 little ones, so they weren't in school yet. And I didn't trust to put them in daycare. Okay. Right. So it only made sense for them to just come with me everywhere when I needed them to, or them be with their dad, and that was a big change that we made that's like totally out of the norm as well for most people having dads who work from home but stay at home with the kids, and then me being more out in the field. So it was a weird adjustment, but it was something that worked for us. And the hard client part, I would just say, when I first became a realtor, it was really hard for me to be transparent. Not really transparent. I've never really had that problem. But I think it was letting people know that you feel weird or awkward telling people like it is, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to hurt their feelings, or you don't want them to be upset with you and say, I'm going elsewhere.
It's a tough conversation to have when you're trying to establish boundaries.
Yes.
We're trained to not hurt other people's feelings, right?
Yeah. And so, and people think, oh, you get into real estate to make your own schedule. It's like, that's not true, because 90% of the time you're going based off your client's schedule.
Right.
But what I can tell them is, like, I have an appointment at this time, or if my kids are sick or something like that, I'll get back to you tomorrow. And if they're upset about that, it's like, well, you know what? I am a human being. Everyone thinks that. Yeah, everyone thinks that lenders and realtors are robots, you know, and it's like, I'm not. I have a family, I have a husband, I got 2 kids, and I run a business. So it's like, you work with me, I work with you, but if you try and give me a hard time, then
maybe they're not for you.
Yeah, then they're just not a right fit.
Yeah, and it's okay to do that, especially because you do have little ones and they grow up so fast. And
and they're with me. I mean, but 90%, 99% of the time, if the kids go with me, my clients love them. Like, they have a connection with my kid because they have a connection with me.
Right.
And they
plus
do,
your kids are adorable.
Yeah, thank you. And they do become like family, you know, because especially the families that I know that have little kids, I always bring my kids with me, because they are over there playing as we're like looking at the house and talking about things. Yes.
Great
so you bring other kids around, and it's like free entertainment, and it's like a little play date, but you're doing business on the side. You know?
Yeah.
It works out.
And they meet new friends, and now they have new friends. Nice. Very nice. So just wanted to kind of go into, we were just chatting before we started recording about a client that it was smooth sailing almost all the way through, almost until the very end, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
We call her Miss B. No, and I'm not saying that because she's a bitch. I'm saying that because her last name started with a V. But so I got her from a referral from a friend or family member, whatever, family friend, and met up with her. Everything was great, and we were getting along. I knew like her wants and needs. She was at a very specific price point, but she was a cash buyer.
Okay.
She moved here from out of state. And then everything was fine, and we got in our contract on this house, which was completely out of the side of town in the area that she even wanted to be in to begin with. So when she sent me that house, called me up one day, there was an open house. She's like, I found the house. I want you to write an offer.
Had she
it's
seen
perfect.
it yet from the open house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she went to an open house. I was like, awesome. Okay, sounds good. And I'm like, well, this is like way farther than you initially wanted.
Yeah.
And so I wrote up the offer. It got accepted. We went below asking, and it was only on the market for like 5 days. So we went below asking. It was a 55 and older community.
Okay,
and most of those homes in there are cash only. So we went below asking, asked them to pay her closing costs even as a cash buyer, and
nice.
And everything was great.
And you got that offer accepted.
Yeah. Offer got accepted.
Good for you.
It was great. Smooth sailing. Inspections were wonderful. It was like one of the most updated houses in that neighborhood. All kinds of upgrades in amazing condition. Well, we get inspections done. Home inspector starts speaking on things that he wasn't supposed to speak on, like just saying comments, saying, oh, they must have replaced that siding because there was water damage. And it's like, how do you know there was water damage? What?
Oh.
Why are you just jumping to the conclusion that it was water damage?
Right.
Well, home inspector says that, then the owners come home from the home, the sellers come home from the, wherever they were at. And he was like, hey, let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm like, yeah, actually, I have a question.
Right.
Why was this siding replaced? And he's like, oh, it was actually rotted, like there was some sun damage over there.
Okay,
and
so not water.
No, not water damage at all. There was some sun damage over there, and the siding we wanted to upgrade to one that, doesn't need to be replaced so often or recoated with paint,
heat
more
resistant.
durable.
Yeah.
Especially here in Tucson. And they also extended the patio, and so that's why they did that.
Got it.
And, well, there was your answer, right? So as for repairs, everything was done, smooth sailing. Well, we go to the final walkthrough. She didn't tell me on the final walkthrough that she's bringing her massive dog and or her kids or her son, her daughter-in-law, and the baby. Okay. So
the whole gang comes.
Everyone shows up, but the sellers are there moving out, which is fine. It's a final walkthrough.
Right.
Like 99% of the time, right? People are moving out as the new person's coming in.
So they're going to cross paths. Mm-hmm. This is like the final little, I'm going to double check.
Yeah. And most of the time the sellers aren't there. But in this circumstance, it's a 55 and older community, right? So you have to be a little more open to different things. But most of the time, everyone is very friendly.
A little bit more patience.
Yes. And she shows up and she's livid that they're there. And she just was like, I can't even check out the home because they're in here. And her son is like, Mom, chill out. Why? Why can't you check the home out? Because they're in there. They're not telling you you can't go in any room. Like, yeah, they're not telling you can't do your due diligence of the final walkthrough and make sure everything works. Right. So we're fine. And she just like, game over. And I'm like, okay. So that upset her a lot. I was like, no worries. Let's reschedule when no one's here and all of their stuff is out.
Yeah.
Like simple solutions, not a big deal, you know. I left there. I had 45 plus text messages. I'm not kidding. I'll show you on my phone. And just blown up. Then the next day, blowing me up again. She's calling me. She's emailing me. It's just like to the point where, but at this point, it's like harassment. She's just like going off on me about something that there's no need to go off on, right? She's calling Title. Title's telling her the exact same thing. She ends up calling my broker, and my broker tells her the exact same thing, how it is at a final walkthrough. She's sending me articles on how to do my job.
Oh, my gosh.
Articles on how to do my job. And now she's demanding, when I meet you back there for the final walkthrough, I want every document printed out. I need you to bring me a copy of the contract. And I'm like, okay. I didn't respond to her at all through text message because, like most people, when you start getting blown up, you either go one of two ways, right? You shut down and you're just like, this isn't worth it, or you start texting novels back out of anger, and where is that going to get you? Absolutely nowhere, right?
Right.
So I chose the first option, which was don't respond. I have nothing to respond to you about. You and your head are making up things that you're upset about. No one else was upset, literally, but you.
Right.
Like her son was like, what is the problem, Mom? Like, well, we can walk around there. We were in the house. We were walking around. All the repairs are done.
Underlining
there was
there.
Yeah, a lot of underlying things there for sure. Yeah, and so that was that. I meet her at the final walkthrough.
So you rescheduled go ahead.
Yeah, so I rescheduled the final walkthrough. Right. The following day, she shows up with the home inspector without telling me and calls the listing agent on the sign, right?
To let her in.
Yeah. So she's calling me, and mind you, it's 7 a.m., right? And I'm like, the hell? Why are you calling me at 7 a.m.? Like, you just sent me 50 text messages yesterday. I'm not starting this day off with this at 7 a.m. So I didn't answer. So then she texts me right away. I'm here at the house with the home inspector. And I'm like, why? What? Like, what? You never told me that. What are you doing? It's still owner occupied. Like, what are you thinking?
You don't own the house.
Yeah.
It's not for you to come and go yet.
Yeah, so she calls the listing agent, and the listing agent calls me and is like, Nicolette, call me back ASAP. I'm like, okay. Well, it's a mother or daughter who listed it.
Right.
So I call the listing agent back, and she's like, I'm here at the house with your client. Where are you? And I'm like, there was no appointment to go to the house today. I'm so sorry you even got called. So then I tell the listing agent, call me when you leave. Well, the listing agent calls me when it's all said and done.
Right.
Because the listing agent was like, I don't feel comfortable letting your clients in the home. And I'm like, why do they need to go into the home? We're not doing our final walkthrough till tomorrow. The home inspector went out there to make sure the necessary repairs are done. But the necessary repairs only needed to be checked on the outside of the house. The water heater was on the outside of the home. The plumbing underneath the home was underneath the home. So why do you need access to the inside of the home? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was weird. Oh, she lets him in. The listing agent calls me back and was like, your client is a nutcase, and I am so sorry you have to deal with this. And I send her the backstory. Then my client starts blowing me up again, just nonstop text messages saying that I suck at my job. The listing agent's going to do everything for her, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. And then she's like, I'm just going to call the listing agent from now on. The listing agent is, I'm screenshotting it and I'm sending it to the listing agent. And the listing agent's like, absolutely not. I will not respond to her. I have your back 120%.
This is not the way to do it.
No, and I'm letting the listing agent know these are the, she's seeing the text messages and she's like, she is like assaulting you now and just harassing you. She's like, I'm so sorry that your client is treating you like this. Wow. Do you want me to be at the final walkthrough with you tomorrow? Because my client's texting me lying, saying the listing agent told me this, that, and the listing agent's like, I have never answered her phone, after this, I've never answered her phone call, responded to text message, nothing. She's never even texted me, the listing agent's telling me. But my client, on the other hand, is telling me that the listing agent was like, yeah, she's not texting me at all. I'm like, okay, good to know. So the next day, I bring a realtor with me, and the listing agent shows up as well, and my client shows up. So we are all on the same page, me, the other realtor, and the listing agent, right? Like, there is nothing that you can say and hold over my head. I have, I wanted other people to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah. Because the type of people that you deal with that will take you to court for any little thing, and this is one of those clients. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So I brought all the paperwork she requested, everything. I brought the final walkthrough for her to sign off on in person. And even when she's signing the final walkthrough, she says, I don't have my readers on. Which box do I check? I'm like, let me go get your readers for you because I'm not telling you what box you need to check.
This is such a Karen. Mm-hmm. Is her name Karen?
No, it is.
No, Karen.
Oh.
I said she's such a Karen.
Oh, yeah, I know. But isn't it like you're a Karen or you're...
Is it?
I think so.
Okay. She's a Karen or...
Well, we'll still call her Miss B. So...
We're going to have to do some major editing.
So, yeah, it was just a nightmare. So then the final walkthrough, she went and got her readers. She signed off on it.
You went and got her readers?
Oh, yeah. I'm like, girl, I ain't playing this game with you.
Yeah.
I know what road we're going down here, and I'm not going down that road with you.
No. I don't trust you further than I can throw you at this point.
Exactly.
No way.
Yep. So she signs it, then she goes to title, she signs there. I leave the keys at title for her because I'm like...
Done.
There is nothing I can do for you at this point. I've done everything for you, but come to find out, that day the listing agent told me that she was working with another realtor, 2 other realtors, and another realtor showed her that home. So she told me she went to the open house. No.
Oh, God.
Another realtor showed her the house. Yeah. So she was working with 2 other realtors besides me, and I had no idea. These other realtors had no idea, and I felt so bad. I'm like, what the heck, And it was just one of the worst transactions I've ever dealt with. I had my broker involved on every single email I sent. You
needed to cover your ass.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's just some out there that
yeah,
clearly the communication between you and the listing agent, she was fabricating just all these lies.
Yeah.
To where if you didn't have that extra, witness or someone on these emails. She would have fabricated all kinds of stuff about you.
Mm-hmm. And she was like, why aren't you responding? Like, my client's like, you aren't responding to my text message. And I'm like, which one out of the 150 in the last 4 hours? What one do you want to answer on? Well, the one that I'm a piece of shit or the one that, I'm like.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, dude, she was gnarly.
That's bad.
Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, I started typing a message like, you can talk to your kids like that, but you can't talk to me like that. And I was like, nah, let's not do that.
I'm going to sleep on that one.
Yeah. So I just deleted it and then just.
That's the smartest thing to do.
I just laughed at one of the comments that she said in out of the 160 messages.
Holy cow. I'm so sorry that happened.
But I laughed at it because I thought it was funny. So I'm like, oh, this will make around, whatever. Yeah.
Because you're just such a nice, kind-hearted person. I can't believe it.
I'm just like such a go with the flow. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, when you first get into real estate, it's like act this way, dress this way, blah, blah. And you're like, you just
Heck
do what.
no. She's going to do her.
Yeah. Well, you're supposed to do you because people know when you're faking it, when you're not, when you're not comfortable, when you're wearing like a pencil skirt and you're like trying to be professional. I'm like, yeah, I can't walk in heels, first of all, so you're not going to catch me in a pencil skirt.
Well, you are very authentic. Yeah. I would absolutely agree. And I think that's why clients gravitate to you because you're so down to earth, easy to talk to. Mm-hmm. Of course, beautiful.
Thank
you.
It's all the surgery
I just can't. No. And that's what your podcast is supposed to be on eventually.
Mm-hmm. I'm all for it.
I'm sorry that she did that. That was very unwarranted because I know how you work. We've done deals together.
Oh, yeah.
You would bend over backwards for someone.
Yeah.
And then at the very last minute.
But, I mean, you can't please everybody. And people are going to find a way to just be mad. Like, you can be mad about anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, how many times do you deal with that when you're running numbers for clients? And they're like, well, I thought it was going to be this, but it's this. But you're like already under contract. Yeah. That probably happens all the time, huh?
It happens mainly on the interest rates.
Yeah.
If I've pre-qualified someone in February, it's now June.
I know.
Those numbers are so different.
So how are you approaching that with clients then?
That they need to get into contract right away.
Yeah.
Because we just don't know what changes.
Yeah. Are there anything that your company is offering as far as like any type of incentives if they go with you, like refinances?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up because we absolutely do. Mm-hmm. We're called your lender for life. Okay. So when you close, there's an email and we're going to email you a certificate. And that is a lifetime guarantee that when you go to refinance, because you will, everyone refinances. Yeah. We're going to waive our lender fees.
Really? Has it always been like that?
Well, it's become more popular because we know.
Because the rates.
We know that rates are not going to stay here. Mm-hmm. And so instead of you leaving to go to, an online lender, we want to keep you for a client for life. So we want to be your lender for life.
Wow, that's crazy. That's awesome.
We do that. Yeah. There's also a few other things that we do. I mean, just our VA buyers, that's something that I do personally because they're my favorite. Mm-hmm. We do like a hero program where their appraisal is covered by us.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Dang. Look at all these things I'm learning. That's awesome. Those are good incentives, though, because there is a lot of people who they don't know those things, Mm. I think it's hard, too, trying to explain to people right now with the interest rates, like how if I buy a house right now and the interest rate is high and I'm like borderline uncomfortable with the payment. Yeah. Like, well, how do you approach that with them?
Well, there's just so many different ways that we can make your payment more comfortable. Mm-hmm. And just like how you said that you got seller concessions. Yeah. Let's get some seller concessions and do a 2-1 buy down or a permanent buy down. You can buy out your mortgage insurance. So say someone has, 20% down, and they're buying a conventional house and they have 20%. Well, I don't want 20%. I want 15% down and buy out your mortgage insurance. Your interest rate's going to be better.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're lending more money. My loan's going to be bigger.
Oh. So. And then it'll save them still that hundreds of dollars on the mortgage insurance part?
Yeah, because now they've bought it. Mortgage insurance is just an insurance policy. Right. Right? And say you get your car insurance at Geico. Mm-hmm. You can either pay it all up front. Right. Right? 1 year at a time. Or you pay monthly. Right? Mm-hmm. Well, mortgage insurance is the same thing. It's an insurance policy. But if you pay for it all up front, it's just a one-time fee. That's it. You're done. You've covered that entire 30-year mortgage insurance policy.
So it would be cheaper to do it that way, right? Because then you don't have the interest tacked onto that.
Well, you're not going to pay interest on the mortgage insurance.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're just principal and interest, and then the taxes and the homeowner's insurance and mortgage insurance. You're not going to pay interest on that. Okay. But it does make your payment more. Yeah. Right? Because you're paying it monthly. Yeah. Yeah. But if you're getting seller concessions, one way to bring down your payment is to buy out that mortgage insurance. And now your payment is $120 less.
And then you saved potentially thousands of dollars, right? Because that additional 5% that you're not coming in with?
Well, because when you do something like that, we're going to give you a better interest rate. There's these little sweet spots for lending.
Yeah, and those are things that just no one knows about.
No one talks about. So,
how long have you been doing it for? How long have you been a lender for?
I've been doing mortgages exclusively since 2016, but I've been in the financial world since 2005.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right, because didn't you work for a bank?
Yeah.
Before?
I did. I worked for a couple banks. Like 3.
Yeah, so you know all the numbers.
There's just so many ways to be creative.
Yeah.
Especially if, someone is concerned about the payment and the interest rate. It's so temporary. It really is.
So where do you see interest rates going then by the end of the year?
I want to see a nice, comfortable 5.5.
Yeah?
5.75.
By the end of the year?
Maybe.
So if someone buys a house right now, that'll give them enough time to pay. How many payments do they have to pay before they can refinance?
So if you're closing with me and I'm your lender for life, there's no minimum.
Really? Okay, so you can close on the house and then the rates
3
drop.
months later, we're going to refinance you.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really good to know.
If it takes a year, it takes a year. But if interest rates just magically, we wake up and they're down 2 points, why not?
Yeah, because I was told that I think that you have to pay like 6 consecutive payments in a row. So what if somebody... Okay, so what if they weren't with you, though? What if they closed with somebody else and then the rates drop? Do they still have to wait, or can they just go with you automatically?
Should I let them in on an industry secret?
Yeah.
It's not live.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the
No, you need to
industry
anyways.
secret. Every loan officer in America knows this, and we kind of cover each other's ass.
Yeah.
We have an EPO at most mortgage companies, most banks. It's an early payoff EPO. So when a lender closes a loan, a mortgage officer closes a loan. If there's not 6 payments made on that loan, we have to pay our entire commission back.
Oh.
Well, at my company, I don't have EPOs anymore. So
Why is that?
I just work for it's a great company.
Oh.
They won't punish us for an early payoff.
So that's why most lenders say then that you have to wait the 6 months because they're not willing to pay anything back.
They'd have to pay their entire. It's like they worked for free.
Oh, okay.
So as an industry, we kind of always protected each other because we 90% of loan officers have that.
Right.
I wouldn't want you to go and pay off a loan I closed 2 months ago.
Right.
I would have to pay that money back and not get a second loan. So we kind of just we've had this industry, kind of secret because we just look out for one another.
So they can do that then. So
Yeah.
they can close with somebody else and then them come to you and be like, what can you do for me that this person can't? And you're like, well, I can refinance you right now and you don't have to wait another 4 months because we don't know what rates are going to be in 4 months.
So what I would do is I still wouldn't do it because I'm screwing over that other loan officer.
But how are you screwing over that other loan officer if in 4 months that rate goes up again and now this client is getting screwed?
That loan officer needed to reach out. And I would, this is kind of a secret industry thing.
Yeah.
Karma.
Yeah.
If I go and take everyone's loan that closed within the last 2-3 months, all those loan officers have to pay back their commission. They're going to know who paid off the loan.
Yeah.
They're going to know which loan officer.
That's just when you tell them my name is Jaimie Massey and take out the booth. You go back to your maiden name.
So I don't know. It's just like, there's lenders out there that don't give a shit, but there's karma.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, there's plenty of realtors that are dogs out there.
Yeah.
And they really don't give a shit.
And so if someone came to me, if it was, my friend loan officer that I used to work with, and it's been 2-3 months, I know he's going to get an EPO, I'd call him up and go like, hey, they're shopping. I know we could do lower rates. And, you better reach out.
Yeah.
You know, because I
See
know
what
they're
you
going to
can
go to
do.
someone else, and I'm going to at least give that loan officer a heads up. And hell, it still happens.
Yeah.
You know?
Dang. That's good to know, though, because I think that's a hard thing right now. Like, I have buyers in specific price points, and they're not comfortable buying right now because they're looking at like a $2,400 mortgage or something like that, or 22 or whatever the case is on like a
Yeah.
$280,000
They are.
mortgage, and that's hard because a lot of them are either single income or single parent or something like that, right? Or double income that they still just can't afford that, and so they're like, well, we're gonna wait, and it's like,
And see, this is where I also tell them if they can qualify for it. I know it's not going to be preferred to pay $2,500, right? But if your numbers say you can qualify for it, you need to kind of take a look and say, all right, priorities.
yeah,
I can get rid of HBO Max and Paramount and just use Netflix. You kind of analyze, do I really need this, or can I sacrifice that to be in a home right now with no competition?
right,
Sellers giving you seller credits,
Yeah, big
getting
time.
home warranties paid. You can think on it. You can get inspections. I'm going to
Yeah.
do all that because the minute that the interest rates come down,
you can refinance.
I can refinance.
That's what I've been explaining to buyers too. I'm like, if you're comfortable with what the payment is right now, and we can wait till the interest rates drop. And I actually posted a video about that today because we were talking about being intentional with your spending, right?
Right.
I read a book, and The 8 Rules of Love by Jay Shetty. Fabulous book.
Check that one out.
Everyone should read it. And I actually bought it for one of the title reps that I had a meeting with, that I like her and I have like had a relationship kind of outside of the title aspect, but for the Women's Council. And she told me that she just went through a divorce, and I'm like, oh, this will be a great book for her to read right now because
Right.
she's like kind of having a tough time trying to find herself again, you know. But yeah, we did a video on being intentional, but everywhere though, not just like in your love life. It could be in your financial life to
Yeah.
save up money for a down payment. Like, nobody gives a shit if you're wearing those new Air Force Ones
No.
or those new pair of pants or what. Like, what's going to count is down the road, something happens, you own your home, you can leave something behind for
Right.
your kids or for your family. And
Generational wealth.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I don't know if people understand that their car, if you have a $700 car payment, which
so
unfortunately
expensive.
is like the norm right
I
now.
know, but that's so expensive.
$700 a month car payment. Do you realize that is a $100,000 mortgage? Like,
Really?
yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
So when I'm pre-qualifying someone and they want a 350 home because they love it and they went to the open house and they want to make an offer on it and they have a $700 car payment, now it's $250. I can approve
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, but okay, so you're taking that $90,000 Yukon,
Yeah.
what, rolling it back up to an apartment complex? You're like,
Exactly.
you look awesome, dude.
So it's
Like,
it's
no,
priorities.
drive the little hoopty back to the
Yep.
house, and then when the rates drop, I don't know,
Refinance.
or refinance or pull money on them, pay your car cash, right?
There's just it's so many ways to tweak money.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I get it. Interest rates are not the best number.
Deal.
Right? They're not ideal. But we hadn't seen seller concessions in 3 years.
Yeah.
And there was no way we were going to ask for under asking. No
Yeah.
way.
I've been going to new builds, and they're like, we're giving $5,000 in seller concessions. I'm like, I'll write you an offer in an hour. And then I send them an offer. I'm like, we need $15,000 in concessions. I'm offering $20,000 lower, and I want a washer, dryer, refrigerator, and blinds included.
This is why I'd use her as a realtor.
Yeah. And it literally got accepted on Sunday. Just that. Yeah. It was listed at $436. We offered $405 with all of that. They came back at $425. We're like, no, we'll do $415 though.
Yeah.
We'll meet you in the middle, $415. And they accepted because I don't think most people know that you can do that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not being mean. It's like, well, let's just test the waters. And I'm not saying I'm
Right.
offering $200,000 less.
No, nothing ridiculous.
Be
like that.
realistic.
Right.
But what is it, like $15,000 in concessions can drop your interest rate like 2% Or
You could do a
you know the
2-1
numbers
buy
more than
down.
me.
Yeah, I would definitely say you could probably go about 1.5 points.
Which is a
So-
1.5%?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you were at a 7% interest rate, if you had $15,000 in seller concessions to strictly buy your interest rate
Which is a
down,
ton.
you could get a 5.5.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know. That's where I'm saying, do you want to get into the market where you don't get $15,000
Yeah.
from a seller? You don't get under asking. You have to waive every inspection. Or buy now and you can get all of that.
Yeah.
You're going to pay a higher interest rate as long as you
Temporarily.
can qualify for it. Right. That's
Yeah.
the key. Is it may not be comfortable. It may be a stretch. But that's where your priorities. How many times do you really need to go to Starbucks?
Yeah.
Or do you want to own a home?
Yeah.
How many times do you want to eat out? Or do you want to own a home?
I think that's genius advice because a lot of people they just don't know that.
And they want to wait. I'm going to wait for
But then
interest
you
rates
wait,
to come down.
and then the rates drop, and now you have competition all over again.
There's everyone that was waiting is now out. Off the fence.
Yeah.
There goes
It's
those
hard.
lines from the open houses.
Yeah. But that's where you need to find a realtor that can explain these things
Right.
and know what you're doing, even if you qualify for $350, but you are comfortable with a $300,000 mortgage. You can still buy. The interest rate will be higher, but you still get a house that you want, you know?
Right.
But also, a lot of people think that it has to be their first house, has to be their forever house, and that's not the case
It's
either.
not, the numbers don't
I was
lie.
pissed when we moved on the south side of town for our first house. I was like, I'm not doing it.
And how
then
long did you stay?
3 years, and I loved it. And then
So-
all my neighbors were amazing, and my community was amazing. And I was actually sad to move back to Oro Valley on this side of town because I was like,
Yeah.
but I'm so close to the freeway, and there's amazing Mexican food everywhere, and
Yeah.
kids everywhere, and it's great. And yeah, so I think you just got to do what works best for you.
It does.
What you're comfortable with.
And you just kind of weigh your options.
Yeah.
And we could do pros and cons. Like take a old school, here's the pros, here's the cons. Which one is longer?
I know it's going to be pros all day if you're comparing it to paying someone else's rent to your own.
You're absolutely
You
right.
know,
Good point.
so there's not many cons
Yeah.
really at all.
No.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap up here, but I just wanted to thank you again so much for coming on. I know
Thank you.
we've been talking about this for
So long.
since like December.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm glad
like,
our
next
schedules
week. I know.
finally aligned. It was great to spend some time with you, and if anyone really wants a realtor that is going to bend over backwards, and as long as you don't text her 100 times
Yeah.
in 10 minutes.
Please don't tell me I'm a piece of shit.
God, that's awful.
I know.
So reach out to us because we'll be happy to connect you with Miss Nicolette here
Oh,
in
yeah.
Tucson, Arizona. And you can find us on all streaming podcasts. And if you could give us a review or a rating, we'd really appreciate it because your input really helps us to have the next conversation. And you can also reach us at myfave, that's F-A-V-E, mortgage@gmail.com. So
Yeah.
myfavemortgage@gmail.com. We would love to do some Q&A questions too. Anything mortgage, real estate, inspections, anything like that, please reach out.
We'll get there.
We will get there.
Yeah.
We'll be here for your support and we will see you next time. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.